PC Radio. I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Joe, it's time to go, go, go. You're just so status quo. Both friend and foe know you're a no-go, Joe.
Come on, man.
The PC Radio Show with Stu and Rich.
Mojo 50 Radio, the iHeart station, over 1 million of you come in here every single weekday, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. We feel blessed and fortunate to have you. Also, due to the Facebook censoring yesterday, Richard, our show was suppressed. It was gone. It was, I think, 5 minutes of it was able to air, and then because I started calling out radical Democrats on the program, Facebook completely shut us down. I got the warning that my account is going to be restricted, it's going to be gone, and I was unable to post in any group as so far today. The Twitter account is probably next to follow, so Patriots, get over there and download the OpsLens app, okay? The OpsLens app, unfiltered, uncensored. Also, their Facebook page still going strong with nearly 1 million followers. So download the OpsLens app. We are also on Clout Hub. If you're looking on the screen right now, you can see the Clout Hub app, channel 200. Also uncensored. You will never be kicked off of there, no matter what your viewpoints are, and that's what this country is all about. In the bottom of the screen, you see D-Ron Slater. He is joining us here on PC Radio. D-Ron, welcome to the show, man. We really appreciate you being here today. How's it going?
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, you're how you feeling? I mean, yeah, just let's just get right into it. I mean, obviously, it's election day number 5 or whatever it is, and this thing is going to go on for quite some time. People are feeling very deflated. People are feeling very depressed, and are preparing for this looming dark winter that Creepy Joe, Sleepy Joe told us was going to happen. To them, you say what?
Well, I feel vindicated. They have confirmed every suspicion that we have had. They have confirmed each and everything that Donald Trump has said that they will do. Donald Trump has been calling this since day one with this mail-in voting scheme, scam, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. We knew that this was going to happen, and that's why I told my base, be mentally prepared for the shenanigans or just the, you guys. You know what? That's an understatement. This is completely criminal.
Yeah, it's fraud. It's total fraud. And, we're seeing Sharpie Gate. We're seeing these poll watchers and attorneys from the Republican Party that are being denied access to be able to watch this count. They're supposed to be able to be there within 6 feet to watch this count happen. Why does the Trump administration have to file lawsuits in order for that to happen? And then even when the law is signed by a judge and the order is in, allowing them in there, they are still pushing them out saying, no, 20, 30, 40, 100 feet away. How can you watch these ballots as they're coming in? Yeah, watching your binoculars. How can you do that from 100 feet away? D-Ron, the answer is you just can't.
You can't, and that's part of the stipulation with the ballots. It has to be verified by the Republican and also the Democrat. Yeah. So if you're that far away and you can even if you are using binoculars and you be like, hey, that's not a good looking ballot, how can you stop them from putting it through? If you're like 70 feet away.
That's right.
Right.
That's ridiculous. And see, that's what I love that Rudy Giuliani was just like, you know what? They have broken the law. They haven't fulfilled the stipulations. All of these ballots need to be pulled, period. Mm-hmm. Especially, you know what, Drew and Richard? The 4 o'clock ballots that were brought in. At 4 a.m.? Are you kidding me?
Right.
In all the key battle states.
So we go to bed at, roughly 11 o'clock or midnight. And, we go to bed. Our president is up. We're feeling pretty good in all the key battleground states. They were even talking about Minnesota at that point being a battleground state. Obviously, Minnesota is full of mental health issues. And so, obviously kept blue. Hasn't changed since 1972. Can't quite figure that out. People like, I guess, being led around the nanny state. They like being told what to do. They like being locked down. They like the racism that happens with the DFL party and these radical Democrats inside of the city of Minneapolis over South, Ilhan Omar. You know, she keeps her people locked up in chains, and she's able to manipulate them and still enslave that minority vote by just keeping them into the ghetto. You know, and you go to any democratically controlled stronghold, and what do you see? You see boarded up businesses. You see robbing, stealing, looting, burning. People don't have jobs. The suppression and the oppression is real only in these democratically controlled cities. And speaking of suppression, this is these people before the election.
President Trump is dragging down Republican senators with him.
For parties, sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're the bug. And this year, it looks like Republicans are the bug.
This could be the year where Texas goes blue.
More likely, as we sit tonight, that Joe Biden wins a landslide.
If we see in those final polls the type of lead that Joe Biden has now, the polls are not going to be wrong.
The polls are not going to be wrong. This was designed specifically to have people stay at home. Well, he can't win. And the president, you're right, D-Ron, the president called this months in advance. He has not been wrong about anything that I can remember since he came down that escalator. He's been 5 steps ahead of these weirdos since day one. And he said exactly this. He said, they're trying to keep you at home. He was at a rally in front of 40,000 people, Richard, where he said, they're going to tell you that I'm going to lose in a landslide. And so then the plan is to go to a movie and then go vote, or go vote and go to a movie. And you say, honey, let's just skip the voting. Mm-hmm. Let's just skip it.
It won't even matter.
It won't even matter. And he was exactly right. And who was wrong? These pollsters. Look at what happened. The blue wave they predicted absolutely did not happen. What do we do now, D-Ron? I mean, you're a self-proclaimed all-in radical Republican. How do you give us some hope?
Well, I just have to tell you this. The only way they're getting away with this is because the patriot, we're allowing them to. It is our constitutional right. You guys know, I'm very candid. I'm very direct, okay?
That's why I like you.
It is our constitutional right to pick up arms and to restore order. Period. Now, here's the thing. Beyond any doubt, we know that this is completely fraudulent. Mm-hmm. Beyond any doubt, we know that. This president needs help. And so, as I said before, yesterday, I don't want Donald Trump to concede. I want Donald Trump to tell them, make me leave office. And if Donald Trump says, hey, if you want to support me, stand in office, you want to sign up, you want to come and be one of my soldiers, I'm signing up, I'm on the first flight to go and support my president. Patriots, I've had enough. My patriots here in Minnesota have had enough. And I know patriots all across the nation are fed up with this crap, this baloney, this malarkey, this, you know what? I'm going to say subjugation. This is complete subjugation.
Great word.
From these Democrats. I'm sick of it. So I'm just like, how are we going to keep remaining civil with tyrants? Tyrants look at civility as weakness.
That's right.
It's time for us to get real and stop being the nice guy and start being the nice guy with the gun who comes to basically completely solve the problem.
Richard, isn't that one of the most frustrating things about being, identifying as a conservative or a Republican, is that we always are the nice guy? This civility, yes. That it's taken as a weakness, and really there is a lot of weakness. I mean, where are the Republicans today? Where are you?
They're not saying anything.
Why have I not seen one Republican on national television standing with our president? Where are you?
Yeah, all these senators and all these congressmen, and even on the state level, nobody has come out and said anything.
Once again, Donald J. Trump fights for us alone.
Yeah.
It's total disgrace.
That speaks volumes. That lets us know that these Republicans that have been in office for so long have lost their Republican ways. They have lost their Republican values. They have forgotten the mantra. They have forgotten our core values. They're not grassroots. We are.
That place,
we're the ones that represent
city,
the GOP, not them.
Has a way of robbing you of your soul. That city, that establishment has its way of literally snatching your soul. I saw a young kid that was elected to Congress. I mean, he's very young, and I don't remember where he's from. But he was being interviewed, and the interviewer was saying, "What do you plan to do when you get to Washington?" And his thing was just to hold on to my soul. I mean, that's a job in and of itself when you get to a place, a cesspool of corruption in the deepest swamp ever in history.
Well, and I really sometimes wonder what it is about all of that. You can run for an office and you can make all these promises and you can knock on doors and really talk to the people, your constituency that you hope to gain. And then you get elected, you get put there, and you do none of it or a small fraction of it. And then just go about your day and go about your business just with, all right, well, we're doing the best we can do. And I understand after working for a member of Congress for a couple of years that things do take time, right? There's a process and votes and hearings and all this other crap. But I don't think that they really do a whole lot of what they say.
Yeah.
And clearly, as we've said before, it's very clear that a lot of these politicians, they don't really care about the people anymore. It's about power, votes, money, and
the last part of what
souls.
you said, I agree with 100%. It's about money, control, compliance, power. Okay, but the other thing that you said, I've got to disagree with you, because you said that these things take time. BS. Look at what happened with Amy Coney Barrett. When they decided that they wanted to get something done, they got it done. So for the last 3.5 years, where has the Republican Senate been? It is completely trash. We pay you to go there and do a job. So get your ass to Washington, D.C. and do your job. Right now, we need you more than ever. And where are you? Why is the president fighting alone with his legal team?
Exactly. No Lindsey Graham. No one. I mean, here's the thing. What we have seen before with the false impeachment, they kind of got a little backbone then, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to go to bat for the president. We're going to, speak for the president in Congress.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's when the president truly needs real GOP to have his back. No one is saying anything. They are spineless. That's because they are institutionalized and they have been best friends with these tyrants, the Democrats.
That's right.
And I'm going to say this yet again, and this might get me in trouble, but this is why I'm a controversial figure, because I don't give a damn.
All right.
The Democrats are a terrorist organization. Mm-hmm. They are the longest living domestic terrorist organization operating within the United States, and they need to be categorized as a domestic terrorist organization. Period.
Here's the president. Here's the president earlier today.
If you count the votes that came in late, we're looking at them very strongly, but a lot of votes came in late. I've already decisively won many critical states, including massive victories in Florida, Iowa, Indiana, Ohio. To name just a few, we won these and many other victories despite historic election interference from big media, big money, and big tech. As everybody saw, we won by historic numbers. And the pollsters got it knowingly wrong. They got it knowingly wrong. We had polls that were so ridiculous, and everybody knew it at the time. There was no blue wave that they predicted. They thought there was going to be a big blue wave. That was false. That was done for suppression reasons. But instead, there was a big red wave.
And, let's just take Florida, for example. We had Greg Skasny on yesterday, and D-Ron, Biden was supposed to, this was supposed to be an embarrassing defeat for the president in Florida. They had him by double digits in a lot of these networks and on a lot of these polls. The Cuban Americans hate him. They hate him because he's racist. The elderly vote, they hate him because he has not responded to the coronavirus appropriately. He's slaughtered in the elderly vote. He killed it with Cubans. He killed it with black Americans in Miami-Dade County. He absolutely crushed Biden in Florida. And here's what we have going on. This was a set-up coup d'etat. Yes. And this is the third coup d'etat that they have set up. First, the phony Russia hoax, the impeachment hoax with the Ukrainian phone call, and now this. And so what they're trying to do here is they had all of this set up. Biden, with his Freudian slip, already told you that they had the most comprehensive fraud scheme set up in the history of our country. This has been ongoing for a long time. Nancy Pelosi was the first one to realize I could politicize the hell out of this COVID-19. This is what I'm going to have to do to get him out of here. And she did. And her party got behind her. And that was the first step to keeping you away from voting. Now they're doing the actual interference, the suppression polls. Twitter got behind them. Big tech all over the place. The mainstream media, even Fox, gets behind this thing. And now what you have is the reason for the slowing of the count and the reason for the stopping of the count is because they think that they've got him. What they have to do is they have to see what the votes actually came in at, right? And then they have to figure out where in these key battleground states do they need to make up these votes and how do they get them there so that the president doesn't just win by winning Pennsylvania, but instead he has to win Nevada. He has to win North Carolina. He has to win Georgia. He has to win. So he's dying the death of 1,000 cuts. They've got him. They've got him right where they want him right now.
Let's not also forget that I believe that the part of this scamdemic was intended for the election.
Absolutely.
They're gonna suppress all these people and tell them don't leave your house, stay 6 feet away, and then come out with this mail-in voting BS. Mm-hmm. So people are scared to go to the polls. Mm-hmm. And so now we have all these mail-in votes and D-Ron, like you said, they come in at 4 a.m. Well, these were all people that were too scared to go to the ballots because I might get this flesh-eating virus and then give it to my mother, who will give it to her sister, and then before you know it, all the civilization is dead.
I'm in 100% agreement with what both of you guys said, and so let me add on to that. All See, right. they didn't plan on Ruth Greensburg dying.
Yes,
she was a major part of the plan. Yeah. Because if Donald Trump fights and tries to take to the Supreme Court, you got Ruth who's like, boom, no, not going to happen. She's going to be that deciding vote. Nope, not going to happen. This is why they fought against getting this new Supreme Court nominee.
Yeah.
That's why they fought tooth and nail. Okay. We can't have her get in there. We can't have Barrett get in there because she's going to side with Donald Trump. Rightly so. And you guys, I just want to say this. I don't know how true this is. But the brother from InfoWars, Alex Jones, the slim, very bold guy, I've met him a couple of times. I can't remember his name.
Mm-hmm. Alex Jones, yeah.
He had a brother on his show that said that Donald Trump was already ahead of the game with watermarks.
Yeah.
For these ballots.
Yeah.
Because they knew, because Trump said this, Stu, you heard Trump say it. He's like, he's going to do this at 4 a.m. He's going to bring in these ballots from nowhere, 4 a.m. And Stu, the thing is, now we got Katie Barrett in there in the Supreme Court. Like Rudy Giuliani said, if we can get them to pull all these fake ballots, it's a red tsunami. So that means we get to take the House. Mm-hmm. That's going to happen. It's just a moment of time. And you guys, this is the storm before the calm. So I always tell my base, hold on, hold tight. Donald Trump, they're way ahead of the game.
I want to add something to that real quick also, and I think you hit it right on the head, but I think another important key here is you said that Amy Coney Barrett is going to side with Donald Trump. The real message here is that Amy Coney Barrett is going to stand by the Constitution. Amy Coney Barrett is going to rule objectively as a conservative judge. She is a honorable juror of the court, and she is going to rule with the side of patriotism and a free America. That's what she's going to do. Exactly. And Donald Trump, along with fighting to get that thing done and the Senate doing their job finally for the first time in his presidency and stepping up and getting that confirmation done in a record amount of time was extremely important. But also Donald Trump has been fighting this thing with the hundreds of appointments of conservative federal court judges all throughout his last 4 years in a presidency, which is going to come into play also big time. Richard, you were saying?
So here, the one question I have is when we're talking about all these fraudulent ballots, what happens with the ones that have already been counted? I thought I heard somebody on Fox News go, well, the ones that were already counted are kind of lost. So we want them to stop the counting so that they can't pass any more fraudulent ballots.
That's a good question.
If they can show evidence of them being there now, what would make anybody believe that they weren't there before? And how do we go back and get those ones out?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question.
You know what, Richard? I like what you said earlier. Let's take that money okay, of ours. It's our money.
Mhm.
And let's do an entire re-election. But you have to vote in person, and you better have a damn ID.
And we know that that's never going to happen.
Right.
There's just absolutely no way on God's green earth that is going to happen. We do think that it should, and I agree with you. Do the whole damn thing over again.
Do it over.
But we have something coming in here from Arizona, and this is MSNBC. Intern Boy says we need to see this.
We just got it. A batch of about 60,000 votes just came in. And again, it favors President Trump. And you can see the difference here now. It was about 56,000. Now it is down to 46,000. Joe Biden, this is his statewide lead here. Joe Biden's lead over Donald Trump is down to 46,000. So what just happened? Again, this is Maricopa County. This is the big one. And it just, I just went into Maricopa County. That's why the numbers changed. I confused myself there. So here's what happened. We got about 60,000 new votes. 35,000 of them, 991 went for 911 went for the president, and 25,128 went for Joe Biden. Now the key here, we've been saying the number for Trump of the outstanding vote in Arizona, his target is to keep winning at least 59% of it.
Okay.
If he's at that number above, he's got a real chance of overtaking Biden ultimately statewide. What did he get in this giant batch of votes? He got 59%.
Oh, boy. So even MSNBC, thank you, Intern Boy, even MSNBC is now starting to admit, because now if Biden does get Nevada, which is, I mean, I've never seen a race so damn tight. If he does somehow get that, but then Arizona comes in for Trump, because Maricopa County is a law and order county. Remember, these are the people who love Sheriff Joe Arpaio, okay? They love law and order there. That is Trump country down there. Mm-hmm. And if 125,000 ballots can come in the middle of the night, by the way, and 100% of them are for Joe Biden, then why can't 605,000 ballots that are still coming in be 100% for Donald Trump? Right now he's at 59%. That's the number that he needs. If that thing flips back into the Trump column, Biden doesn't win. So exactly. These electoral votes come out of his column and go into the column of the president. The path to victory for Donald Trump is not closed.
Exactly.
Nope.
It is not closed. And even if the Electoral College, the first person to 270 is Joe Biden, this thing is still not over. Do not be discouraged by that.
Exactly.
Because this thing can be won in the courts.
Who is it that actually, so we all, we watch news stations and all this. Who is it that actually calls a state election? So we're looking at Nevada, for example.
Yeah.
We're not to believe that the Fox News decision desk and CNN's decision desk and all these media outlets are the ones that call these states. Who is the final say? In each state about
the election board, the election board and the Electoral College certify the election in December. So the vote count goes in, and yes, the analysts with Fox News at the decision desk are the ones that they're the ones that measure all this probability, and each network does it independently, but they're the ones that measure the probability and then announce it, and then the final votes actually come in, and then those get sent to the Electoral College, and then the Electoral College certifies it, at which point it becomes official, and then they inaugurate the president in January. So it is. I mean, we do rely heavily on the media, which is terrible because we've proven the media to also be a group of terrorists that support this Democratic Party of terrorists and racists. And so even Fox, they prematurely called this thing. And so the reason for that is because of the pornographic stuff of the day. The only time that I think I ever agreed with Geraldo, let's see if I have that here. Here it is. Here's Geraldo.
Impeach the pollsters. Impeach the pollsters. They're pornographers. They don't go into the Spanish.
What he means by that is that they're looking for the sex of the day. We have to have the big story. We got to be the first network to break something, and all in the name of their own clicks, likes, and followers. D-Ron, where can people find you? We're running up against a hard break here. Sip of coffee there.
Just find me on Facebook, DERON, last name SLATER. You can't miss me. My picture has the red tsunami.
Yeah.
You can't miss me.
What's the logo on your hat and on the screen behind you?
Oh, and then stand for is my patriotic Christian grassroots movement. We stand for God, country, family, and service. So once you find me on Facebook, I can lead you directly to stand for, and that is stand/FOUR.com. Stand for.
Keep your eyes to the Lord. D-Ron Slater, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. More
you,
PC
sir.
Radio, Joe the Cop coming up. Force Matrix Fridays. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. My name is Stu. That's Richard.
Censored by Twitter, shadow banned on Facebook, and hated by fake news media. The Patriotically Correct Radio Show with Stu and Rich, Mojo 50 Radio.
Hey, it's Stu Peters and Richard Leonard for Adjust Today Chiropractic. Now, I want you to take a look at this. This is the website for Adjust Today Chiropractic, which obviously is at adjusttodaychiropractic.com. Dr. Dustin Ducart says you're in good hands. He believes everyone has a chance to experience the benefits of chiropractic care. He'd love to find out how to skillfully take care of you and your spine, and that can be done even on Saturdays. He makes himself available on Saturdays. And Richard, you know how important it is to be properly aligned.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's no secret that proper alignment is good for you, not only in just an everyday health aspect, but also, I mean, it can help things that you don't even know that it helps. Now, Dr. Dustin Ducart does specialize in like athletic pain and things like that, but also, I mean, chiropractic care can help with allergies, migraines, all kinds of stuff. Visit him today, adjusttodaychiropractic.com, adjusttodaychiropractic.com. That's adjusttodaychiropractic.com.
Broadcasting live from the highest cloud of privileged patriotism. The PC Radio Show is on Mojo 50 Radio.
It's always great to have D-Ron Slater on. That was nice of him to make the time to join us in the first half. Second half brought to you by Law Dog Coffee. Welcome back to Patriotically Correct Radio, broadcasting live from the Law Dog Coffee studios with my Blue Lives Matter shirt on. Never, ever ashamed I am of supporting law enforcement and doing it loudly, which is part of the reason why we get banned everywhere. On Twitter, we get shadow banned on Facebook, we get blocked here and kicked off of there, because we are loud and proud, conservative, patriot, pro-police voices, and I will never back down. If you also support the police, the best way to do it and drink good coffee is to go over to Law Dog Coffee, PCRadio.com. Every single dollar spent over there goes to the Wounded Blue, which is an organization that has documented assisting 6,000 families of catastrophically wounded law enforcement officers. Make sure that you get over there. Law Dog Coffee, PCRadio.com. Use the promo code PCRadio for 10% off site-wide. We are now going to go to our Force Matrix Friday guest that we have here every single Friday. You love it. I know. You absolutely love it. When we bring in Joe the Cop, and he is a 24-year law enforcement veteran. He is an expert in the field of law enforcement. He is a great articulator of everything use of force, a 24-year law enforcement officer currently working cop in America, so we protect his anonymity. Joe, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Appreciate it, Stu.
All right. We were talking last night. We were chatting via instant messenger here, Facebook Messenger, and you were very, very pessimistic about the election. And you said, listen, and you called it on our show that you thought that Trump was going to have a hard time, and it appears that he is having a hard time. He's up against fraud. He's up against a rigged election. He's up against a terrorist group, also known as the Democratic Party, which has been hijacked by radical progressives. And you still don't think that this thing can be won by the president?
No, Stu, I honestly don't. I didn't think he was going to win last time. He did win last time, and I voted for him last time. I didn't think he was going to win this time based on a number of factors. Primarily, I just think that his, and again, I voted for him this time as well.
Yeah.
I think that his antics, especially, with his Twitter wars, his temper tantrums, and his basically mishandling of the pandemic, not that he can control a virus or where it goes or what it does, but I believe that the perception that he didn't care, and the American people have grown weak, Stu. They need somebody to hold their hand, and they want the president to do it.
Okay, but hold on a second here. When you say that the president doesn't care, he immediately shut down travel from Wuhan and from China. He immediately shut it down. He acted before anybody else said that he should act, and he was called a xenophobe for doing it. He was called a racist for doing it. When he acts like he doesn't care, I don't know that I agree with that either. I think that what he's saying here is that the solution can't be worse than the problem. And furthermore, when you have a virus that has a survival rate of over 99%, the real thing to be scared of here is not the virus, but in the way that people are reacting to it. And I think that's what the president is trying to articulate.
Yeah, no. Listen, I agree with you. I agree with you on that. He can't control it. He can't promise anyone tomorrow. You got too many weak people in the public to expect just that. But honestly, Stu, he going on the press conference and basically attacking the experts, who I have issues with what these people say myself, but he's attacking the viral experts. He's attacking them. He's basically telling people inject disinfectant or something to that extent. He's going to he's going to a rally and telling people the virus affects virtually nobody. Okay? The elderly, the people that are compromised. You have over 200,000 dead, reportedly. I don't trust the numbers any more than the next guy, but you have over 200,000 dead, reportedly. You can't get up there and say it affects virtually no one. And then he gets it after basically daring it to come at him. I mean, listen, I'm happy he beat it, and I voted for him this time. But I think that this cost him votes. Him
contracting COVID-19 and having the coronavirus and beating it in 3 days and then being on stage 5 times a day in front of thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people, to me, just basically supports his whole diatribe that this thing really isn't what the media is saying that it is. And yes, whenever you have 200,000 people dead, that is a tragedy. Okay, and there is any loss of life is an absolute tragedy. Richard, I know that you agree. You were nodding over there. Joe, I know that you agree. You're a cop and you care about people. Otherwise, you wouldn't be a cop. Okay, 200,000 people dead is a tragedy. Of those 200,000 people, how many of them actually died from the coronavirus? I don't know, because we've already heard of stories like in Milwaukee where somebody doesn't even have to test positive. A physician just has to say, well, they had COVID-like symptoms, and then they get labeled a coronavirus death. People who get hit by a train but had the coronavirus are labeled a coronavirus death. So out of the 200,000 that died with it, I don't know how many actually died from it. Furthermore, the point that I really wanted to get to here, of those 200,000 people, let's say that every single one of them legitimately died from the coronavirus. If they had contracted influenza B, would they be dead? If they had contracted pneumonia, would those same people be dead? Are these people older than 85? Do they have compromised immune systems? Do they have congestive heart failure? Do they have, cancer? Are they high-risk people? I would say that probably yes, because when we're talking about something that statistically, and to your point about him attacking the epidemiologists or the viral guys and gals, that like Fauci and all these other people, the guy that tells you that you have to wear a mask indefinitely until the asteroid hits the Earth, but then goes to a baseball game and takes his off, rules for thee, but not for me. You say that he's attacking.
I have a problem with those two.
Yeah.
I have a problem with that as well.
And you say that he's attacking them, but I think what he's saying is, look, you can say whatever you want over here, okay? But Fauci has a stake in the game. He's got money to make, okay? He stands financial gain the longer this thing goes on. And that, to me, is also problematic. So I don't think that he's attacking him necessarily, but I think what he's saying is, look, you're telling the country to live in fear. Let's talk about stats. This thing has a 99.8% survival rate. Why don't we talk about the positive things that people can do? Yes, wash your hands. Yes, be safe. Yes, if you're sick or have a compromised immune system, don't go out in public. But to take these kids out of school when there is not one documented case in the entire world, not where this thing started in Wuhan, and not here, not anywhere, where a child has passed this thing to an adult, where children are proven to be super spreaders, to take them out of their schools, away from their peers, disrupt their entire life, both socially and educationally, to make them grow up wearing these masks. This is the new normal. It's a complete travesty. It's a complete government overreach, and that's what he's talking about.
Well, and personally, for me, I don't care what he says or doesn't say. I don't care what Fauci says or doesn't say. to me, I'm data driven when it comes to this virus. The survivability rate, I think, is something that is not talked about enough. And you know, as both of you had said, the numbers are what really steer my opinion about the virus. The numbers of people that contracted it, also while claiming or reporting that they staunchly wear a mask.
Yes.
They always have a mask on, but still got this thing. So how much do masks really protect us? You know what I mean? So I'm more about the data when it comes to the virus, personally.
You are, Stu is, and I am. Okay, I don't care for Fauci. I really don't. I don't like the constant little smirk he has on his face. I don't like how he constantly.
I agree.
He's never met a camera he hasn't loved. I don't like how he tells you to stay home and then goes to a baseball game. Rich, I hate that. I hate that kind of hypocrisy. All right? I don't care for the guy. The problem is many Americans seem to love him. And at a time when Trump needed optics the most, all this was a very bad look for him. It really was. I just, you asked me why I was down on him and negative and thinking he wasn't going to get reelected. This was one of the reasons.
Well,
I just don't understand, like, some of the things he said. I just think if he would have just, I think he could have phrased this thing differently and says, listen, we can't promise you tomorrow. You do not have to wear a mask. I am not for keeping the economy shut down. We're not meant to be shut down. In fact, he did say that. You don't have to wear a mask. But right now we think maybe it's a good idea to do it. Why leave it open the chance? I think it just would have went a lot better for him. Now, do I think there's cheating in this election? I think there's cheating in every election. The question is, to what degree was there cheating in this election, okay, that cost him the presidency? That is for an investigation to find out. But do I think if it goes in front of the Supreme Court that it's going to go in his favor? If you want my opinion, no, I don't. I think that Biden is going to be next president, and that's bad. As crazy as I thought Trump was acting at times, I would never have voted for Biden. I voted for Trump. He had my vote.
Let's go back to something that you just said here. Before we go too far forward, I want to really go back to the things that you're saying, because you're right when you say that he needed optics. He needed an opportunity to show the country that he cared about them, and the way that he phrased this thing was less than polished, right? I mean, that's basically in a nutshell what you said, right? Well, that is why he got elected. And that is why droves and droves of people come out to look at him and to listen to him speak. And that's why whenever he talks, the whole world stops. That's why he's the most famous person to ever walk the face of this planet. That's indisputable. There's nobody that's ever been more famous, unless you ask Trump, and then he would say, well, Jesus Christ is more famous, which I tend to agree with. Staying away from the religion part of it and going back to what you said, I think that he did exactly what voters put him there to do, which was be honest with them. Give me the cold, hard truth. I don't want some politician up here or some polished epidemiologist or some world-renowned virologist, okay, who has a financial stake in the game telling me what it is that I need to do. It's a sea of hypocrisy. And then if you want to talk about moving forward to the corruption side of it and whether or not this actually cost him an election, well, let me pose you a question. When you went to bed on election night, the president had a very comfortable lead in every single key battleground state. Every single one of them. In Pennsylvania, in Georgia, in Florida, in North Carolina, in Nevada, in Arizona, in Michigan, in Wisconsin. This guy was leading comfortably in all of those places. Everybody goes to bed at night. People stop counting. People slow the counting down. All of a sudden, ballots come in, 125,000 of them, 100% of which are for Biden. I'll tell you how deep the corruption is. It's right in front of our face. And did it cost him the election? It definitely can. It absolutely can. I said in the first half of the show, which you didn't hear yet, I said that, this is the death of 1,000 cuts. They set this. They've been planning this for 4 years. It would not have mattered if Joe Biden was the nominee. It could have been anybody. It could have literally been anybody from the Democratic side that could be controlled by radical progressives. It could have been anybody. But what I'm saying is they chose him, they made him the face. We know from physical evidence that we have actually seen that 30 to 40, maybe 50 people show up at Biden rallies, whereas 30 to 40,000 are showing up at Trump's. We know that we don't see Biden caravans, boat parades. We know that we don't see grassroots events for Biden happening all over the place. The physical evidence is in the signs that you see in the yard. The enthusiasm for the president is far and above, exponentially greater than Joe Biden's enthusiasm was. So to tell me that there's not corruption and that we wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and somehow between the hours of 1 a.m. and 5 a.m., hundreds of thousands of ballots come in and all of them are checked with the name Joe Biden, complete BS. I'm not buying it. This thing stinks, and the reason it stinks is because it's fraudulent and it's criminal.
Well, and I think
I'm not buying it either.
Good.
Okay?
I think what you both said is correct.
Go ahead, Richard.
I'm sorry, Joe. I think what you both said is correct. I agree with a little of both of them. I think Joe was trying to say that, although he agrees with the president, if we're going to talk about votes that he was going to get or not get, you got to play the game a little bit.
This
and
isn't
I
a
agree
game.
with you, Stu, that's not why he got elected.
Yeah.
He got elected because, especially for guys like us, I will call a spade 100% of the time. So will you, and so will Joe, it seems. And so when you take out a true politician who is going to pussyfoot around and just tell somebody, hey, you're an asshole. I know you're an asshole, and just call it what it is. I appreciate that about him. But I do think that there are some places in this country where he could have got a couple more votes if he would have just played the game a little bit. So, I mean, I don't agree that he should have had to do that, but I think that, some of the voters in our country that don't think that far ahead, think that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just add to that, Rich. Every presidential administration wants a second administration. And if you want a second administration, you got to play along to get. Look what Obama did. He kind of kept it pretty even keel, it seemed, the first administration. And during the second administration, he showed what a lowlife he really was. But by then, he already had a second administration. Rich said the same thing. He's data-driven about the virus. Well, I'm an evidence guy myself. The problem is most people are not. They're looking at the stories, they're listening to the commercials, they're reading the news accounts, and they're getting scared.
Yeah.
It was not a good look for him.
Well, and the reason it wasn't a good look is because of the way that the mainstream mob media framed it. They are criminal, corrupt. They are complicit in this entire scam, and they are part of the fraud that is happening at the polls. They're part of it. They have suppressed news. They took a Hunter Biden story and completely suppressed it. There are tens of millions of people that don't even know that Hunter Biden has a laptop with messages, emails, texts, and photographs, pornographic photographs of underage kids that he's laying with naked, smoking a crack pipe, which, by the way, was a meth pipe. Let's not get this twisted. I'll be the first one to break it here on PC Radio. Hunter Biden is not a crackhead. He's a tweaker, okay? That was a meth bubble. Okay. But what I'm saying is the media framed this whole coronavirus thing as well. So it wouldn't have mattered what the president said or the way that he reacted. They would have still used the fear tactic.
He took the bait every single time, Stu. This is the problem with the guy. I have no issue with the man responding to people who are attacking him. But in so doing, you've got to respond to them with factual information. Hit them with facts. Hit them with your sardonic personality, okay? Hit him with facts, but make sure you're not being left open. But he's not. He's being left open to fact checkers all the time. The virus is magically
well, who are they?
Away.
I mean, who are these fact checkers that you speak of?
But Stu, the problem with that is he doesn't refute them. This is the problem. Week after week, I watch Sarah Sanders get on the news and say, well, that's not what the president meant. That's really not how he meant it and everything like that. Look, he said it. He has to own it. He could have looked like the perfect sympathetic victim after that bullshit impeachment process. Okay? He could have looked perfect. All he had to do was just basically shine the light back on him and say, look what they tried to do to me. They had no evidence they did it. Now, as your president, here's the virus. I'm going to do everything I can. I can't promise you tomorrow, but now we're going to go. Him saying it's their new hoax, Stu, I don't care how he meant to say it. It didn't help. Nothing helped. Staking the Secret Service agents on a joyride when you're still contagious didn't help. It showed that the guy didn't really care about anyone else. I don't think that he's like that. But
well, the same
how
Secret
it
Service
comes
agents, to
across.
his credit, were going to have to take him back to the White House anyways. The same Secret Service agents were going to have to take him to Marine One so he could get back. I mean, the Secret Service signs up for that.
Yes.
I mean, literally, they do. That's part of it. Okay, the president was out there to give a feeling and a showing of optimism to the people who are living in fear as a result of these progressive radicals who are controlling people with the fear emotion. Joe, I've said it before. There are several ways that you can get somebody to do the impossible. There are several ways that you can get somebody to do something that normally would be unthinkable and unfathomable to them. One is with money. Two is by telling them they can't do it because everybody's up for a challenge. But the most effective way to move anybody is by using fear. And the media and these radical progressives have been doing that, and they're using the coronavirus and politicizing this thing. Nancy Pelosi saw this coming from the beginning when this virus came here, and it should have never come here from China. But when it did, she saw an opportunity to politicize this thing and pursue her relentless efforts to remove this duly elected president from the White House. Period. There's no two ways about it.
Right,
She's
right.
criminal, and so is the rest of them.
They had him set up, Stu. I don't argue that. The riots, which came from the left, contribute to a lot of the super spread. I don't trust the medical experts when they say, oh, that didn't happen. You make that statement, but you got to provide evidence to show that it didn't. Bullshit. Of course it did. It's a super spreader event. If a Trump rally of 10,000 could do it, so can a riot of 10,000. Everyone knows this. But I'll keep coming back to it. He played into their hands. He needed optics to get to a second administration. I believe everything is shady here with this recount, with the election. I went to bed on Tuesday night kind of surprised, like, man, he might win this despite the fact that I said he wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wednesday morning I woke up and said, yeah, I see what they're doing here. But to what degree can you prove this? What if the Supreme Court says, and people keep thinking, well, he put Barrett in there because she'll vote for him. Well, that's not why we're supposed to put Supreme Court justices in there. Okay?
No, she's gonna uphold the Constitution. She's gonna rule based on the Constitution, which is what we needed there. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a politician in a robe. Amy Coney Barrett has a solid background of being a fair juror on the court. Let's move on. He may not need to go to the Supreme Court anyways, by the way, because as we showed in the first half here, we have video from MSNBC. These Maricopa County, Arizona ballots are starting to be counted. They are 59% right now. I'm looking at the screen. 61% of these now are incoming for the president. So that means that this lead that was supposed to be for Biden in Arizona is now shifting, and it is shrinking tremendously in Arizona. So we'll have to watch that carefully, which may mean that even if Biden does take Nevada, that Arizona could come out of the Biden column and go in favor of the president, which then would take Biden out of the presidency, at least until North Carolina comes in, Georgia, and the other states, Pennsylvania, and the other ones that we're waiting for. Let's talk about law and order. Richard, you were talking about the riots that were happening in our city here, Minneapolis and St. Paul. Just the other night, there was a Don't Let Trump Cheat rally, I think it was, that was going on there, and which is, to me, it's kind of funny. Don't let Trump cheat. Really? Don't let him cheat us out of democracy. These people were hitting the freeway, right? Is that what was going on?
Yeah, and first of all, Stu, let's be clear. It was a peaceful protest,
sure,
or peaceful demonstration.
Yes, it was. Mm-hmm. Blocking traffic is criminal. It's illegal. There are signs that say it right on the side of the freeway. So,
yeah. So apparently the big hubbub was that when the demonstration moved out onto the interstate, that the police corralled these folks on the shoulder of the highway and wouldn't let them leave because they were going to decide whether or not they were going to arrest them or not, and then escorted them off the highway. And so now their First Amendment right was being taken from them, and it was just a complete manhandling of these people by the police, they claim.
Joe, is that a violation of you're a cop? Is that a violation of a citizen's rights to prohibit them from breaking the law?
No, it's not. But to listen to some of these idiot police chiefs, Stu, they will tell you that it is. I've watched police chiefs be questioned and say, is blocking traffic illegal? And I specifically saw one state, well, that depends how you look at it. I mean, if it's peaceful, it's no, it's bullshit. It's a lie. It's a lie that a police chief is telling the public. Okay, it does not. A protest does not have to be peaceful. It has to be legal.
There you go.
You can be as loud as you want if you have a permit and you're standing off a sidewalk in a cordoned off area, holding up your signs and jumping up and down like an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When a police chief got up there, when this police chief got up there and said that, I believe it was Scott Schubert in Pittsburgh who got up there and said, "Well, it depends how you look at it. As long as it's peaceful, we have the First, Second, Third, Fourth, and Fifth Amendment. Like that has anything to do with it." Okay, it's a lie. You cannot block traffic. Period. You are not allowed to block traffic. The only people that are allowed to block traffic are the police when they have an accident or when there's a permit for a parade. They don't have a permit. These people don't have a permit. They're thugs. It's a lie. So yes, it is. So no, rather, it is not a violation of their constitutional rights to be arrested for breaking the law.
And they weren't even arrested.
They
were just corralled. They were just taken aside for their own safety and for the safety of traveling motorists. I mean, they could cause an accident. All kinds of things.
And then escorted to safety, escorted off the highway so that they didn't get hit. And I'll tell you what, in my mind, if you're blocking traffic and an ambulance can't get through, and you can't tell me that these assholes would have said, "All right, everybody move out of the way, there's an ambulance coming through," and let it through. No, they would have blocked it because it'll create more optics, and it'll show people that we really mean business. Whoever's hurt and needs this ambulance is not going to get it.
I'm just getting breaking news here, so I want to break in here real quick. This thing only has a couple of hundred views on YouTube. I mean, literally, it just hit right now. This is a big bombshell. The watermark, the ballot watermark is confirmed by a former intel chief who states the Biden team and his whole camp is about to go down. Apparently, there were watermarks on these ballots, on the real and legal ballots, that the Trump administration was able to put on them. I don't know if this is a conspiracy theory or a hoax. I'm just seeing this now that it's breaking, that this ballot watermark deal is confirmed. That'll be interesting.
Wow.
D. Ron Slater talked a little bit about that.
I'm not sure what to believe. There's so much stuff on the internet, That's the problem.
There is. This has been going around with the major news networks. I don't believe them either, but I do believe that our president has been right about almost everything that he has forecasted months in advance. From the time that he came down that escalator, he called it. He has said literally everything that these Democrats were going to do. He knew it, and months ago he told us they were going to try to steal this election. I would not put it past him as a very calculated person.
Who didn't know that with the mail-in ballot? I mean, there needs to be some national standards here about when you can actually, go. If you're overseas, it's an absentee thing because you're in the military. Totally get it. All right, but you could go to Walmart. You could go vote in person. He was correct in that they would try to do it.
Yeah,
it's just that he's just not made himself a sympathetic victim with so many things he's done.
I don't want. You know what? I don't want a sympathetic victim running my country. I don't want that. And you know what? I don't believe that half of our country or more than half of our country wants it either. That's how I know that they're cheating. Because he was supposed to have a miserable loss in Florida because elderly people didn't like him due to his response to the coronavirus. He killed it. He crushed the numbers with the elderly vote in Florida. He was racist. The immigrants wouldn't like him. He crushed it with the minority vote in Florida. In Florida, Ron DeSantis runs a tight ship in Florida. In Florida, the polling places were being watched very carefully. It's only in Democratic strongholds where these numbers are suddenly coming in, and they are all for former Vice President Biden. That screams fraud.
I got a lot of questions. You're right. Which is why we need an investigation, and which is why I hope that there is a fair judicial process for him. But if I'm going to have to lay odds, And like I said, if I'm wrong, I'll come back on the show and let the two of you beat me up.
Well,
But
I don't try to do that. We're just, we're three guys spitballing, looking for the truth somewhere. None of us have access to it. We're just trying to find it.
Well, if I have to lay odds, I'm going to say it's probably not going to work out for him. Like it or not, this idiot, this senile groper is going to be your next president.
Joe the Cop.
When that happens,
go ahead.
not only will the rioting continue. I'm sorry?
Go ahead. Wrap it up. We're out of time. Wrap it up. Not only will the rioting continue.
Not only will the riots continue, but they will have the approval of this White House administration.
Yeah.
So it's going to get ugly because it's only a matter of time before the conservative gun owners start hitting back. People can only take so much.
Absolutely.
A tipping point.
I agree. The tipping point is coming. Joe the Cop, a 24-year law enforcement veteran, currently working cop in America. Always love having him on Fridays. Until tomorrow. No, we'll see you on Monday. We'll see you on Monday. More PC Radio at 5 p.m. Central Monday.
Their mamas always told them they'd never amount to anything.
You know what? I am going to ground you for 3 months.
Yeah, they were right.
Why doesn't anybody ever listen?
Stuart and Richard, PC Radio is on.